Welcome to RPA Learnings, and in this video we're going to see how to extract data from two different invoices from two different vendors in UiPath. And first let me show you the invoices first, and these are the invoices from two different vendors. This is Star Software and this is from Softix providers, and these are the two vendors that we are going to see how we can extract the invoice ID and date, vendor name, and the total amount. These are the four fields that we are going to extract today in this video from these two PDFs, writing only a single regular expression, and we are using regular expressions to extract this data from this invoice. And now we will get back to UiPath Studio to see how we can achieve that in UiPath Studio. Before going to that, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please consider subscribing for more of these videos. And if you like this video, please give it a like. And if you have any other doubts, please mention them in the comment section below. And if you don't know about our regular expressions in our channel, we have a tutorial on regular expressions. Do watch it. You will understand how to write a regular expression there. And now let's start with the invoice extraction. The first thing that we need to do is we need to get the path of that particular uh, invoices. So let me create a file path. I will make it as invoice path, where I need to get the files. So I will use directory dot get files, of, and I need to provide the path here. So let me go here in the project panel. Let me open the data. Here are my invoices. So let me open this folder and let me copy this path, and we need to use that path here, and we only need to get the PDF data. So we will make it as a PDF values, and here you need to make this as array of strings, as there are array of string. So now the error is gone. So first, the second thing is we need to get every file in that particular directory invoice path. So we will use a for each to get each item from that particular array of strings. Here you need to mention the invoice path, which is array of strings here. So now we will get each item or the each invoice from this particular for each. Now let me drag a message box over here so that we can see the file name, and let me give it as file name yes item dot to string. This will be our file name. And the next thing that we need to do is we need to read this particular PDFs or the invoices that are present in that folder. So we will use a read PDF activity. If you unable to find the read PDF activity, just go back to manage packages and then install the uipath.pdf.activities, and the file name will be item.toString, which is our single invoices from that particular folder. And here we need to provide the output variable, which is the extracted string. So I will make it as PDF text. Now let me drag another message box over here to see the PDF text. Now let me run this one and see what is the output that we are getting in this particular PDF text. So let me debug this one. So this is the file name, initial file name, and this is the data that we are getting from that particular PDF. You can see after the read PDF, we got the invoice number over here, and the vendor name, date, and the total amount here. So let me. So this is the second PDF, and this is the PDF that we have read by read PDF activity, and here we got invoice ID, vendor name, date, and the total amount here. So we achieved up to reading the particular invoice here. So now we need to extract data from the particular invoice. Uh, we will write a regular expression for extracting the data from that particular PDF. So regular expressions is nothing but a pattern which matches a specific string to extract the values from uh, a group of strings. For that, I will use a editor which is regex101.com, which is very helpful to check your own regular expression whether it is correct or not. So here I need the first thing that I need here is I need the copy of this particular output. So let me drag a right line activity here, and then we will give a PDF text input so that we can get the output in the output panel, so that we can copy that particular whole string that is coming from that particular PDF. That is a string. Now what we need to do is we need to capture this particular string, whole string. It is a single string. From this we will write a certain pattern to extract the data from the PD this particular string. And by writing that pattern, we will extract the similar patterns from the PDF. So here I got this is the first invoice data. So let me copy this one. Come over here, and this here we need to insert the string that we are not going to test, and here we need to write our own regular expression to match that particular string. So let me go back to the output panel, and this time I will copy the second invoice, and let me paste that second invoice well here. So my first invoice and the second invoice strings are present over here. So now I need to perform the regular expression matching pattern. So the first we need to drag an assign activity and create a variable called invoice ID. Let me call it as invoice ID. For writing the regular expression, what you need to write is we need to write as system dot text dot regular expressions dot regex dot match. If we use matches, it indicates us the multiple matches of the string. So here we only have a single match, so we will use match. Now we need to provide the input variable, which is our PDF text, comma. Here we need to provide our regular expression. So now we will see how to write that regular expression and then copy that over here. So now let me go back to regular expression 101 regex101.com. Now what for invoice number, I need to extract the invoice number. So here we have a positive look ahead and positive look behind. Those are the scenarios where after this particular, this is called a positive expression notation, where we express it as question mark less than or equal to, which makes the if we mention invoice invoice here, it will look the words which is after the invoice. If there is something before the invoice, it doesn't get that particular text or extract that particular text. It will only extract after the invoice, which is called as a positive look behind. uh, if we want a space, then we need to mention it as slash s and then number and then dot. So after that we need only digits, so we will mention it as slash d of there are 6 digits, so we will mention it as 6. but it is not selected. We can see here it is a no match found because there is a space in front of this particular digits. So we need to match the correct exact pattern to get to extract the data. So the question mark indicates here whether that is present or not. If sometimes if we got a data like this, then it is not going to select that particular uh, data. So that is the reason why we kept a question mark over there, because when you keep the question mark, it indicates that whether the space might contain or not. So if there is no space also, it will select the pattern. If there is space also, it will select the pattern. So here we got only one match found. We can see how why the second ID is doesn't match, because here there is no number. It has ID. So we need to write another positive look behind for this. For that I will make another positive look behind by making an OR condition here, which is a OR condition. This one alternate like an OR condition here. So I need to write another positive look behind, which is invoice. Now for space we need to select slashes and then ID. After that we have a colon. So after that we have a colon ID and invoice rate VOIC. And now we can see there are two matches over here. So let me copy this regular expression and come over here. Let me open the expression editor, and we need to make it here. And these are called SIM, are called the modifiers. If you don't know about the modifiers, please check back to the video that is present in our channel. Now let me paste the regular expression over here, and at the end you need to mention the value, where the value that it is returned from the regular expression to the string. So let me drag a message box over here to see whether the invoice is extracting correctly or not. So let us make it as invoice number, and let us make the invoice ID. So let me run this again and check whether the invoice number is extracting correctly or there is any regular expression change is needed for this particular pattern. This is the file name, and this is the whole data that is retrieving from the PDF or the invoice, and you can see the invoice number here. So let me check for the second one as well. So here there is another PDF or the invoice, and here are the second invoice number. So the invoice number is extracting correctly. So now we will get back and check for the date. And here for the date, there is only single date over here in the first PDF and single date in the second PDF. So I don't need to write a positive look behind or a positive look ahead. For this, I can directly match this particular pattern and write a regular expression. If there is two types of dates in your PDF for the invoice, then you need to uh, write a positive look behind or positive look ahead for this to match the correct pattern or the correct text where we wanted for here. But I not need to do that because I have only a single date variable in my invoices. So first I have a 4 digits value and then a 2-digit value. It might sometimes 1 digit or 2 digit, so I will give it as 1 comma 2, which makes me take values which is in between 1 or 2. So uh, so this is here also we can see there are two matches found. This is one match and this is the second match. So let me copy this. Uh, Let me copy this one regular expression and get back to UiPath Studio, and let me drag in another assign activity and create a variable invoice date. Now first let me copy this regular expression here and then paste it over here. Now let me get back to this one and copy this one and open the expression editor. Now just replace this one with the regular expression that we have written right now. So this will match the whole date which is present in the regular expression, and this time we got the date here, invoice date, which is invoice date. So we will insert the variable here, invoice date, invoice date. Now let me check this as well. So if there is any changes required, you need to make a correct pattern to match word or a line that is you want to extract from the invoice. You always need to check whether you are actually getting that particular date or invoice number correctly or not before going further in the steps. The date is extracting correctly in this case. Now this is the second PDF data, and this is the invoice number, and this is the invoice date. So up to now it is good. Now what we need to do is we need to get the total value. Now we will get the total value from here. For that I need to write a positive look behind, which will look at the total value, where I can show you here the total value, which is this one. After the total I have a colon to match, and then I have a space, and then after digits I have multiple digits, and then I have a colon and then digits, and then here in between this I have a space. So here I got only one match because in the second invoice I don't have any decimal digits for here. So what I can do is I will make it as optional so that I can have two matches for that. And here I have a lot of space here in the second one, so I will make a bunch of space there. If plus indicates a 0 or more, which makes it a match if it is in 0, 1 or more. If we put the star, it will match as a 0 or greater than that. Now this expression matches the total value. So let me copy this one. First let me go back to UiPath Studio. Now take another assign activity. Now in this case we will be checking the total amount, and let me copy this regular expression and paste it over here. The invoice date. Now let me open back this main XML. Now copy this one. Now take an assign activity over here as well, and create a variable called total amount and paste the regular expression value here. Now get back to regular expression and copy this one, and now get back to UiPath Studio. Open the expression editor here. Now in place of this particular expression, just replace the expression that we have taken now for to match the total value, and here we need to take out this I the modifier which is case insensitive, which represents case insensitive, which will match the small total as well. So we don't need the small total because in our invoice or the PDFs we can see there are so many subtotal values here. If we make their I, then it will consider this total as the extracted value. For that reason we will making that case insensitive disabled so that we can get only this value, not this value. That is the reason why we removed I from there. So let me drag another message box over here, which will be in invoice date, not invoice date, invoice amount. So which will be total amount. So let me quickly check back whether it is coming or not. All the three values. Actually, this is how we can actually test the regular expression whether it is working fine or not by trying multiple times to figure out a way of matching a specific pattern. Here you can see the amount, invoice amount 37412. Here the amount is 374124. Here you are. Now this is the second PDF, which is this is the data from the second PDF, and this is the invoice number. Here 597503 and the invoice date, and the total amount is 295740 EUR. Now the last thing that we left with is uh, vendor name. Now we will create the vendor name as well. We will get the vendor name. So let me get back to regular expression portal where I will write my regular expression to match the vendor name. This time what I will do is I will use a look behind for matching the vendor, and then there is a colon. After that I need to retrieve every value. So dot star represents a value after the, if there is a look behind, and then we represent a dot star, it will extract all the value from the PDF after this particular vendor name. So here also it is match the vendor. So this regular expression is useful for us. So let me copy this one first and paste it over here. Now let me open the expression editor. Just copy this regular expression and not the total regular expression. Just need to copy it from here to here, and then delete this one, paste this one, get back here. Now I will copy this one and then paste it here. Now let me click on OK. Now we will take a message box here to represent vendor name, vendor name. So let me run this one. We got everything covered what we discussed in the start of this video. So let us check whether everything is extracting correctly from the PDF or is there anything missing. The invoice number, invoice date, invoice amount, but here the vendor name is selected everything after the vendor name to the total amount. This is the errors that we can get while writing a regular expression if we doesn't match a correct regular expression of the exact pattern of the regular expression. So we can also check back to the second invoice. So invoice number is extracted correctly, invoice amount. On this also we have a different kind of value with exact, not exactly the vendor name. So this is how you actually get the values if it doesn't match a correct regular expression or the correct pattern. And how to fix that? Just get back to regular expression and we can see there is an address over here, and then in the second PDF we have a client name here, vendor, after the vendor. So what we will do is we will write a positive look ahead, which will look ahead of this particular address to match the value. So we will use positive look ahead and an or so that we can use both the specific address and then the column, or there is a different value here which is client name. So we'll use another positive look ahead, which is client and then a space and then name. Here we have a space here in between these two, so we need to mention here like /n and then spaces. So we got two matches now because there is just after this is in a new line and a space is present in between that, so we need to give this /n and the space. And here also we can see it is selected the same. So let me copy this regular expression and then get back here. Now let me paste this one here, just delete up to this one and paste it over here. Now let me check back to see whether I was actually getting the value or not. So now we got the value. Let me see whether the vendor name is extracting correctly or not. This is the file first invoice, and this is the data from the first invoice, and this is the invoice number, invoice date, invoice amount, and then the vendor name here, Star Software. And this is the second invoice, and this is the second invoice data, and this is the second invoice number, invoice date, and the total invoice amount, and the vendor name. Here we got it correctly because we used a positive look ahead and the positive look behind. Further, the first positive look behind is the vendor. After the vendor, if there is a value, uh, after the vendor, if there is a value in between this, we have address. So what we have taken is look behind this vendor and look ahead of this address. If there is a value in between that, that will give us the extra that value as extracted value for us as a vendor name. In this case, in the second invoice, after the vendor name, we have a client name here. So what we have taken is after look behind the vendor name and look ahead of this client name. The value which is present in between these two words, that will be our vendor name. And this is how you can exactly match a regular expression to extract the data and pass it on to you. So, and this is how you extract data from invoices using regular expressions. If you like this video, please give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please consider subscribing for more of these videos. If you have any other doubts or comments, mention them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.